Chris, Beck Haynes here. I know you live in Canada. I grew up in Alaska, and I used to get all kind of jokes about how we have, I didn't even know there were sports up there. And basketball was an indoor sport, so it thrived, in my opinion. So I'm just curious, especially with Tech having a former Canadian on the roster and Olu Ashalu, just talk a little bit about the growth of Canadian basketball and how we're seeing more and more college players come from Canada.
I mean, the growth of basketball here is outstanding. Aside from writing for, Mid-Major Madness and a few other sites, I do play-by-play for a school called the Athlete Institute in Orangeville Prep. They have two teams. That's where Jamal Murray, who plays for the Denver Nuggets, as well as Thon Maker with the Milwaukee Bucks, both of them came out of that program about 2 or 3 years ago. That program alone has dozens of guys all across the NCAA. There's a young guy right now that I think maybe the ACC Freshman of the Year named O'Shea Brissett, who's playing up at Syracuse. He's at Athlete Institute in Toronto. And as well, one of his teammates, Howard Washington Jr., is down at Syracuse. Not quite as storied, but you look at number one recruit class of 2018, R.J. Barrett. I don't know if you guys saw any of the U19 World Championships this past summer where Canada won the U19 Championships. They beat USA in the semifinal, and this was with, all those big studs that are scattered across the NCAA and are going to be there next year. And R.J. Barrett put up, I think, 38 or 39 on his own. He was just absolutely dominant. If you take a moment on YouTube, it's only about 3 or 4 minutes long, but it's all R.J. Barrett's 38 points against USA. The guy is just outstanding. I mean, you look at some of the other recruits coming out. Michigan's got a kid named Ignas Brzezikis, who's a 5-star recruit out of Toronto. He's going to go there. This kid is a two-handed player. He's going to be a starter next year, and as well, another kid out of Toronto. Actually, he's from Montreal, but is now living in Toronto, named Lugens Dort, who's also a 5-star recruit that's just signed to play at Arizona State for Bobby Hurley. This kid's going to make an immediate impact. There's so many other guys, even on the mid-major level. And even when I spoke to Coach Congo, I said, hey, why do you got no Canadians? Where's the love on that? But, I mean, the growth of the game. I watched a documentary a few months back. LeBron James' company, he has a production company called Uninterrupted, and they put out a documentary called The Carter Effect. It's about Vince Carter's effect on him coming to Toronto back in the late 90s and how all these, basketball players, guys like Tristan Thompson and Corey Joseph that are in the NBA now, look to Vince as the reason why they got into basketball. So, it's sort of, the growth is outstanding. I mean, you can go look over at Kentucky. That Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's turned out to be the best player this year for Kentucky so far. I mean, they're just all over the NCAA. I just released my list this past week on Mid-Major Madness of the top 15 Canadians playing at mid-major schools. I've got Malcolm DeVivier, number one, up at Akron. He was a grad transfer from Oregon State, played 3 years at Oregon State, played in the NCAA tournament, and, he's putting up big numbers for Akron. But I counted about 77 Canadians playing at mid-majors right now, and I've yet to get to the Power 5, Power 6 schools and count them, but I know there's several dozen more. You're looking at about 125 to 130 Canadians playing NCAA division basketball right now.